What's involved in this, I think, as regards the natural world is entropy. In other words, the whole question of the negative, the destructive, the retarding, the opaque, the dark side of things, and so forth. And as regards the natural world, this is inherent to the natural world as well as the human world. And there's more and more tendency in Christian thought to identify the human condition with original sin. In other words, not to put so much emphasis exactly on a single fault that has to do with the myth of an original fault. And that myth itself is a way of indicating that the life situation is a perilous, is subject to evil, and is subject to a comprehensive pain of existence. And in this sense, the entire world has its own tension, destructiveness that's inbuilt in it, but the human has this in a special moral sense. Just like we have freedom, it affects us in a moral sense. But sometimes I talk about the fact that we in the West have this deep, what I call deep hidden rage against the human condition. It is our capacity to react creatively with the heat and the cold, the suffering, the diseases, the distortions that enter into life. So in this sense, the world is afflicted by human afflictions because our afflictions we somehow impose upon the world, and the world itself has an innocence that certainly the humans don't have. So I don't know if we'll ever get a satisfactory way of dealing with that, except that in the Christian context, resurrection, that I didn't mention adequately, is really the ultimate word. It is the ultimate perspective in which to look at Christianity, look at the human, look at the universe. The final word is resurrection, that the new transformation is there. But what my difficulty is, or my challenge, or my foreboding, has to do with destructive elements that are cutting short the total process in a sense that makes humans guilty in a way that distorts the whole process, and in an irreversible way that is beyond, in a sense, beyond remedy. But that's the difficulty of Christianity. Christians say, well, so let it happen. We're going to get a resurrection. And everything is healed, and everything is new, and everything is glorious, so why worry about it? But the fact is that we have a responsibility to the process, of the temporal process, and that's a paradox in Christianity. It's a profound paradox of the fact that we can do damage in time that is also, in a sense, damage in eternity, and that's the real difficulty.
Up here, I think I'm there. Down here, and especially down here in my gut, I still have to make the transition, because there's too much of the old in me, which has formed me, to which I'm grateful. For me, at this stage of my life, to have really got fully into it, but I have hope. And then, of course, the obvious, reference point to what you're saying. The groaning passage in Romans 8, that the whole of creation is groaning. And what you have said to me is that part of now the human vocation and the Christian vocation is to receive that groaning, of the whole earth into ourselves, and including in the whole earth, and I would insist on this, that earth which is within the human, that is not earth and human, but it's humans within the earth and the earth within humans, but that our human groaning and the groaning of the earth are one, and as Paul suggests, it's the spirit, groaning through both. That's where the power is, the groaning of the spirit within our groaning.
A creation groaning for God, a powerful phrase from St. Paul's writing, brought to the ecological context through Thomas Clark. Nothing will happen without God, and through the resurrection message, God will happen, and we will be saved. But, says Thomas Berry, that's not good enough. This is the central paradox of Christianity. Salvation is promised, but we still have a responsibility to participate in it.
What is it in the mainline Christian tradition that we've somehow missed that entirely? Why is it that there aren't any papal documents when a species becomes extinct? Why don't we have rituals?
Often it's not a problem with the ideas that Tom is presenting so much as the idea of the understanding of one's own tradition, because often we have a very inadequate foundation in our own tradition, and that, there's a difference between the tradition as it exists in the minds of great people, such as Aquinas and these people, and how it became translated down into how people were taught, how they were communicated.
Possibly in the future I might turn to some religion, perhaps traditional religion, or maybe something less conventional. That's a distinct possibility. I'm still looking.
You all have colds. How many times have you blown your nose today?
46.
31.
It's too sore to blow.
So how does it feel?
Tender. Too sore.
Compare New Royale Ultra to your ordinary tissue.
Much softer.
Much softer.
I just said that. Real soft. I just said that.
Try it. Royale Ultra is softer than any ordinary tissue and strong, too.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
I just said that.
Here's your big chance, kid. Don't blow it.
Okay.
Switch to new Royale Ultra. The softer choice is right under your nose.
His books have sold over 12 million copies and enthralled both children and adults around the world. The internationally renowned Robert Munch, the world's best-selling children's storyteller.
So the dragon jumped up.
Quality Records presents The Best of Robert Munch, a collection of his best love stories that your child will enjoy for countless hours. This heartwarming audio cassette includes such favorites as The Paper Bag Princess, Mortimer, Mud Puddle, Thomas's Snowsuit, and his all-time bestseller, Love You Forever.
You'll love this collection of my best stories. It's great stuff.
The Best of Robert Munch, together on audio cassette for the first time ever at the introductory price of only $12.99. Here's how to order. Call 1-800-563-4477 or write Robert Munch, 480 Tapscott Road, Unit 1V, Scarborough, Ontario.
You all have colds. How many times have you blown your nose today?
46.
31.
It's too sore to blow.
So how does it feel?
Tender.
Tender.
Too sore.
Compare New Royale Ultra to your ordinary tissue.
Much softer.
Much softer.
I just said that. Real soft. I just said that.
Try it. Royale Ultra is softer than any ordinary tissue and strong, too.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
I just said that.
Here's your big chance, kid. Don't blow it.
Okay.
Switch to new Royale Ultra. The softer choice is right under your nose.
Да, хорошо, но если, допустим, женщина решила, что она не хочет быть вот такой хозяйкой, и она решила забраться, ну, на 12-й знак, например, занять место мужчины, что тогда произойдет?
Ну, происходят самые страшные вещи. Во-первых, она скидывает оттуда мужчину.
Да.
И начинает вместо него сидеть.
Ну, хорошо, что если он работал, да,
Да,
может быть,
конечно.
тоже сидел, ничего там не делал.
Ну, конечно.
Да.
Ну, такой относительно идеальный вариант.
Да. Когда мы говорим об учении,
When we speak of the teaching, the universal teaching, to use its Latin name, we're not talking about a religion. The universal teaching emerged long before any religion, so it includes all knowledge. The teaching itself is a synthesis of all the best that has been accumulated throughout the centuries of man's existence.
всех вот этих веков существования человечества. Итак, вот наша игра. По этой игре мы с вами можем определить все, что дает учение.
The teaching gives a striving for unity, for joy, for mutual understanding, rather than fighting for fighting's sake.
Ничего не надо, все мы познали. Вдруг перенеслись вот в эту сказку, окажется, что в этой сказке говорится о том, что чтобы разбудить, нужно поработать. Да? Нужно искать, делать что-то, и затем найти то, что вам необходимо, и только после этого все это как бы оживет. Но когда они побывают здесь,
When people come, we have a rule. The entrance ticket is a smile, and they must also leave with a smile. If anyone leaves without a smile, I'd say that's it. I'm no teacher. I've failed.
Among our youth, we see a great interest in non-traditional religions and beliefs. We had this at the beginning of the 20th century and at the end of the 19th. And now the same thing is happening under our new conditions of religious freedom.
A Catholic television group presentation.
With addiction, people are very seldom able to recover from serious addiction until they become terrorized at what's happening, and so frightened at what's happening that they are willing to undertake a drastic restructuring of their lives, a drastic reordering of their personal life, a drastic reordering of their environment, of their associations, a kind of a rebuilding of life from the ground up.
Befriending the Earth. Thomas Berry's theology of reconciliation between Earth and its humans, with Thomas Clark. Featuring Thomas Berry and Thomas Clark, in dialogue at the Holy Cross Center for Ecology and Spirituality, with host Don McDonald.
We know we are in ecological crisis. We know what we have to do to slow it down and to finally stop it. Yet we don't. This is because we are addicts, says Thomas Berry in this episode. We are addicted to the quick fix, to the power of being able to buy our way out of our discomforts. We still have the illusion we are in control. We're simply not yet terrified enough. We still have to hit bottom. And when we do, we are going to need something new to live for, some new dream we can't, in this state of mind, even imagine.
I would like to just mention something about the question of energy, psychic energy, which is rather much at the heart of human issues at moments of crisis. I mentioned before that we are into a deep cultural pathology, and that what we're engaged in is a deep cultural therapy. And to assist people to emerge from a deep cultural pathology, there's need of a very intense energy resource. Now, where does the energy come from? In crisis moments, I generally think that there are two things involved. The first is terror, and the other is the attraction, terror and attraction. For instance, with addiction, people are very seldom able to recover from serious addiction until they become terrorized at what's happening, and so frightened at what's happening that they are willing to undertake a drastic restructuring of their lives, a drastic reordering of their personal life, a drastic reordering of their environment, of their associations, a kind of a rebuilding of life from the ground up. And to do this, there's also need of a dream. Jung frequently expressed the idea that the dream drives the action. We need a dream, a vision. And that is itself what is causing the difficulty at the present time is a distorted dream. The industrial age is driven by the dream of Wonder World. Although it's making Waste World, the conviction is that's communicated in all advertising is that if you will only enter more profoundly into consumption patterns, that you will attain a certain blessedness. You'll be in Wonder World. If you buy such and such an automobile, just Wonder World experience is available to you. Or if you buy a trinket of some kind or a certain type of soap, it will take you from perdition to beatitude. So, what we're into is to appreciate adequately what is happening at the terminal age of the Cenozoic. At the terminal age of the Cenozoic, the world is erupting into ruins. It's changing into poisons. Everything is grimy. You go to the cities and the grime is eating away the very stones of our cities. So that the squalid context of human existence is becoming so unbearable that we're beginning to be terrorized. And we're beginning to experience the stench of our civilization. We're beginning to be overcome by the noise, by the hardness of life and all that. So I don't even want to begin with religion, so to speak. I just want to begin with the physical revulsion at what is happening, because it's not simply that we're not responding religiously, or we don't see the religious disaster. There's a deeper thing that we are not even seeing what we're looking at. We're not even smelling the odors that are around us. We're not even, we're becoming deadened. And that is, kills off our possibilities of religion, kills off our possibilities of understanding. It extinguishes our imagination. So that what we're into is a profound deadening of our capacities to respond. This is a type of human situation that has never existed before at this order of magnitude, or with this type of addictions that we have. The addictions of the terminal phase of the Cenozoic, which identifies in general with the industrial period at the height of its development. So today, what I would like to do is to present to you not simply this, which is the terror aspect, but to present something of what an alternative might be, the ecozoic. So I would like to talk about a myth of the future and how it would function and what might be the role of religion in this new context, what might be the role, let's say, of Christianity. I have a number of items here that I consider to be rather important, and I'd like just to go through them one by one to indicate the characteristics of the world ahead of us if we would choose life rather than death, because that is the option that we're into. Will we choose life or death? We're in a deadly situation. If we choose life, here are the conditions. The first is to understand the universe as a community of subjects, not as a collection of objects. That's a first general statement I would make. The second thing is that the earth exists and can survive only in its integral functioning. You cannot save the earth in fragments any more than we can preserve any living organism in fragments. It's a single reality, and we have to think earth. We have to have the mystique of the earth, a sense of the earth as having a voice and is speaking to us, not simply the trees speaking to us or the water speaking, but the earth is speaking to us. There's a third principle that we need to understand, is that the earth is a one-time endowment. You don't get a second chance. If you kill the earth, it's over with. And to the extent to which we diminish the earth in an irreversible way, it's a loss. It cannot be compensated for. Neither God nor humans can reconstitute extinguished species. They're gone forever. And we kill off the rainforest, it's gone for all conceivable human time, certainly. And what would happen in billions of years, we don't know. But in any relationship with ourselves, certainly as we are now, it's over with. It took 60-some million years to bring the rainforest into existence the way it is. We have to extinguish it. It will never be the same. It can come back if the damage is a limited damage. But at the scale in which the rainforests of the world are being damaged, it's overwhelming. The fourth thing is this. The human is derivative. The earth is primary. Now, for this reason, all the professions must be realigned. But the primacy for the earth, certainly economics, must have as its first law the economic well-being of the planet. Because as long as the economy of the planet is integral, humans don't have to worry. The earth will produce, and we will find a sufficiency for our existence in the earth. But the most absurd thing, the pathological thing for us, is that to believe that we can have an expanding human economy with a diminished earth economy. And that is obviously absurd. The entire pattern of functioning of the earth is altered in the transition from the Cenozoic to the Ecozoic. We had nothing to do with the Cenozoic. There was wave on wave of life expansion in the Cenozoic, culminating in the planet as we see it now. But, we had no part in it. But in the Ecozoic, we are going to be involved in almost everything that happens. Not that we can make it happen, but it will not happen unless we accept it, protect it, foster it. So we have an acceptance, protecting, fostering responsibility for almost everything. We can't make a blade of grass, but there's liable not to be a blade of grass if we don't accept it, protect it, and foster it. So this is a vast change in the whole functioning of the planet, in the whole functioning of the biosystems of the planet. And it puts upon us a new responsibility to be able to be sensitive to the needs of the natural world. We not only need the sciences, and this is why we need more science than ever. We need more technologies than ever of the right kind. Sensitive science. Not that sending us off into some absurd colony in space, but scientists that has what Barbara McClintock called a feeling for the organism. We need to have this religious sensitivity, this deep emotional, imaginative sensitivity to everything, from the bluebirds and the butterflies and the insects and to the trees. Taking care of trees is a sensitivity. A tree responds to things for good or for ill. It's not an easy thing to plant trees and bring them to maturity. Progress, to be valid, must include the entire earth in all its component aspects. To designate human plundering of the planet as progress is an unbearable distortion. And that's what we've been doing. But it's necessary for the water to be pure, the air to be pure, or to be more integral with itself, for the trees to be themselves, for everything to be itself in an ever more better way. But beyond that, there is the deeper mystery of the emergent transformation process. Because the earth will never remain the same. And we've got simply not to take care of things as they are at present to enable them to be what they are called to be in their continuing transformation. There's no stabilization. We can't say, well, let's stabilize things as now and take care of them. You can't do that because the inner dynamism of things is leading on to something different. A new role exists for both science and technology in the Ecozoic period. Science must provide a better understanding of the function of the Earth and how human activity and Earth activity can be mutually enhancing. Human technologists must become coherent with the technologies of the natural world. The natural world has its own technologies. For instance, the whole hydrological cycle is a fantastic engineering feat. To draw the water up out of the seas, to lift it over the continents, to pour it down, to bring it down through the valleys, down through the countryside, over the fields, to nourish the trees and all that, then in the streams to nourish the marine life, and then to have it flow back to the sea and so forth with nutrients for sea life. It's all a vast engineering enterprise, as well as a vast biological enterprise, as well as a vast chemical enterprise. So that understanding this is most important. And for medicine, the medical profession is finally becoming aware that how you try, no matter how much technology you invent, you cannot have well people on a sick planet. A person would say, well, that should be obvious, but it's not so obvious. We've been trying to have well people on a sick planet, and the medical profession has not, as a profession, protested adequately. We must also have a new legal profession. The legal profession doesn't even have the terminology to deal with it. We do not have the type of legal structures to begin this new world of the Ecozoic. So that is one of the changes. And it's why I sometimes mention putting the Bible on the shelf for 20 years. Well, I want to put Webster there too. For until we work out the new definitions of the terms that we already have, like education. What is education? A very simple definition of education. Education is knowing the story and the human role in the story. That's education. To know the story and the human role in the story. There isn't anything else. But you have to know the story in all its resonances, in all its meanings, because it is a story. It's a divine story. It's a human story. It's the story of the trees. It's the story of the rivers. It's the story of the stars and the story of the planets and all that. The religious dimension must enter into every phase of the things that I've mentioned. It must be a religion that will foster a definition such as the universe is a community of subjects. We are not taught that now. We are taught a lot about the human. We are not taught religiously that the sacred community is this larger community. We are not taught adequately about the earth as in its real endowment, what it means in its integrity. And we are, above all, we are not taught of a certain primacy of the earth community. But this question of egalitarianism and hierarchy, well, I suggest that rather than diminishing hierarchy, that we universalize it. That everything is at the top in its own way. When it comes to swimming, the fish are at the top. When it comes to flying, the birds are at the top. When it comes to bearing peaches, peach trees are at the top. When it comes to being a person's own specific self, that person is at the top. And so that it's necessary, I think, to develop this sense of that, and when it comes to certain things, humans are at the top. When it comes to reflexive thinking, humans are the best at that area. But because we're the best of that area, doesn't mean that we are the best absolutely. The thing that is best absolutely is the community. So there is this being wedded together. And the discovery, I think it has to be a new discovery of the human in its relationality. And the discovery of community, a sacred community. For Christians, that would be the sacred Christian dimension of the community. There are other religious groups that might see it in terms of their own specific way. Because, again, if there's going to be religion, it's going to be diversified. If there's going to be revelation, it's going to be diversified. It's the primary law of reality.
The new dream is an Earth community dream, according to Thomas Berry, one where everybody is on top of whatever he, she, it is. When it comes to swimming, the fish are at the top. When it comes to flying, the birds are at the top. And peach trees are at the top of the peach-bearing hierarchy. Humans in this dream world, those humans no longer addicted to power and greed, would be on top of thinking. But in the new vision, humans think and act for all of creation, not just for themselves.
As Tom talks, as I try to make real for myself this emerging universe that I'm a part of, I feel like my whole life is a lot more sacred. The whole of it is more sacred. It's not just God compartmentalized somewhere that I used to meet occasionally or whatever, but the whole of it has taken on a new sacrality, a new sacredness that gives me then a sense that the journey is in faithfulness to my past.